Like I tell people, when you dislike your situation enough, you're going to be eager for change. Working a job, it wasn't horrible, but it just didn't feed me. I feel like my potential was limited. It didn't give me the life that I wanted to create for myself and my family. What I've accomplished is the person I became in the process of accomplishing what I accomplished. The end results, funding 40 million, making $1 million in 10 months, being able to change my family's life, all of that stuff is important. But through, adversity, objections, different things like that, I became that person. I was doing the hard work of fixing people's credit, 6 to 12 months, whatever the case may be. And I would send them to a funding company as a referral, and they would pay me $2,000 in commission. And I was like, I didn't even make that the whole 6 months working with that client on credit repair. I'm on the wrong side of this industry.
Welcome everybody to another exciting episode of the Double Down Podcast. And today we have an absolutely phenomenal guest joining us. He is a powerhouse in the world of business funding and credit repair. He's helped secure over $40 million in funding for small businesses and transformed countless entrepreneurial journeys. Get ready to dive deep into the world of funding, learn the secrets to scaling your business, and discover how you can break free from the 9-to-5 grind and rat race. Reading just that number, $40 million, bro. Before we dive into how, I want to know, how does that feel? How does it feel being able to help small businesses, entrepreneurs access $40 million, bro?
100%, man. Honestly, I never just sit back and really just enjoy it. So to say, like, my mind is always on to the next thing sometimes, and that's a good and a bad thing, right? But I never really sat back and said, dang, I've been able to help inject $40 million of capital into small and medium-sized businesses. So even you just saying it, it's like, wow, it's like hitting me of like, dang, I did that one, and then like how many other businesses I've been able to impact. So now they're able to continue to grow and scale. You know what I mean?
Dude, that's amazing. And while we're on this moment of having you look back at your success, right, I want to continue to give you your flowers, and then we could jump into this. So since these numbers are gaudy and awing to you, on the funding side, I found out that Waiters Capital has funded over $40 million to small and medium-sized businesses. On the coaching side, with the Wealth Builders Academy, you've helped over 50 students make six figures and running their own funding company, and helped one student reach 7 figures. In this coaching year, you've generated over $1 million in only 10 months, bro.
Yeah, man.
Like, you want to talk about flowers well-deserved and not taking the time to stand back and notice that you are doing this. You're making waves. Do you ever recognize it? Is it like a more recognizable thing for you when you see your mentees getting on and being happy and changing their life? Or do you ever take a step back and you're like, oh my God, I've reached the peak. This is what I've been searching for.
Yeah, man. So I would say it's usually when I see my mentees, like, the moment it hit me was at the event. I know we're going to talk about that later, but at the event, just having some of my mentees come up, the ones that I helped get the 40K months, 100K months, right? Just hearing them talk about me, it just shows you how much of an impact I've had on them. And then one of my students, he can barely even talk. Like, his first couple deals, I had to literally close them for him. Like, yo, bro, you about to, kill this deal. Let me hop on and get it done, right? And just seeing like how he can talk in front of an audience of 80 people confidently, and just saying like, how my confidence rubbed off on him and made him confident, and just how it impacted other people. So a lot of the times, like with me, I'm such a worker that I don't really just sit in and just digest and just see like, damn, what I've been able to accomplish, because I'm always on to the next thing, or looking like, okay, this is great. I appreciate it. I'm thankful, but there's still more to go. And then it comes from a place of fear too, man. When you get complacent, sometimes that's when you start to really decrease, digress and things like that. So I'm a person that never wants to get complacent. I'm appreciative of what I've been able to accomplish, but I just want to keep the wheels turning, because there's still more to do. There's more millionaires I need to make. There's more impact I need to have in my family. There's more people I need to inspire. You know what I mean?
Powerful. Absolutely. And you touched on a little bit. You started and you had your own workshop here in Las Vegas. And I'll be honest, I live here. I'm a local too. This is the first of its kind that I've seen here. What was that like? And what was the genius and the thought process behind you wanting to do something like that here in our backyard?
Yeah, man. So what really inspired it is two things, right? Obviously you're in the funding industry as well.
Right.
You have stuff like Credit Con, you have, a circle of CEOs, just regular entrepreneur events. But I don't see too many events specified for the funding industry. It's like we all do funding. We all see each other on the internet at different things. We may come to events together, but we don't ever have events specifically for the funding industry. So that's one thing I want to do, is to be that segue to allow that to happen, not just on an annual basis, but on a quarterly basis. The second thing is, man, living in Vegas, it's like a hidden gem. I feel like a lot of people, when they think of Vegas, they just think of the Strip. They think of entertainment and partying. And most of us that are locals in Vegas, we're not even on the Strip, right?
Ever.
It's so much more that comes with Vegas. And the only thing I feel like Vegas lacked was culture, right? We got food, we got entertainment, we got, anything you want, but we lack culture. So that's one thing I wanted to bring here, especially moving from Atlanta, where there's all the culture. I'm like, if people from Atlanta, or if the culture from Atlanta was to come here, this would be the best city in the United States for credit entrepreneurs. You know what I'm saying? So I kind of wanted to bring that impact here to Vegas to really start to cultivate and build that culture.
And you're right about that. Like, I know when my family comes into town, they just want to hit the Strip. And I'm like, man, I've been there, done that a million times. Like, go have fun. You know what I mean? But I'm going to stay at the crib. I'm not trying to do that. So I totally agree. And I hear you 100%. I know we jump right into the metrics, man, and the numbers, because they're so awesome. And I want the audience really to get drawn in and to be like, who is this guy? So I never really gave you an opportunity to introduce yourself. Please, man, let the world know, who is Stedman Waiters?
Yeah, man. So I'll introduce myself, but I'm going to start off. It's not about, I would say, what I've accomplished. It's the person I became in the process of accomplishing what I accomplished, right? The end results, funding 40 million, making $1 million in 10 months, being able to change my family's life. All of that stuff is important, but it's adversity, what I've been able to overcome to become the person I am today, right? The person I am today, I would have never thought in a million years I would be in this position. But through, adversity, objections, different things like that, I became that person. But if we want to go back, man, I'm originally from Miami, Florida, born, raised there for the most part. Moved to Atlanta. I was pretty good at football. That's all I cared about growing up. Didn't care about entrepreneurship. Didn't care about school. Nobody couldn't tell me I wasn't going to the league. You know what I'm saying? Like every other young black man, right? I was pretty good at football. I was fortunate enough to play Division I football at Georgia Southern. While I was there, I actually studied engineering, right? The reason I chose that degree, because during my recruiting trip, one of the seniors that was going to the military, he was like, yo, don't let these coaches make you choose an easy degree, because if you don't make it to the league, you're going to be in my position. So I chose electrical engineering, even though it was by far the toughest thing ever. Balancing that in football, was able to do both. Once I graduated with my degree, I got a little opportunity to play football professionally, not much of a big stint. But then I was hit with adversity, and I got a job as an engineer, right? But one thing that both of those industries or sports kind of taught me was that my life was being controlled. When I was in football, I was told when to wake up, when to eat, when to practice, everything, right? Same thing with working the job sometimes. Like, my future was in my supervisor's, my CEO's hands on what I wanted to do or how I can go about the company. And, you got to kind of kiss ass, right? But when I discovered entrepreneurship, what made me addicted to it and fall in love with it was my first opportunity that I actually can control my future, bro. Like, a lot of people really don't realize that there's not many opportunities, many aspects in life where you literally can control your outcome. You can control your future. And entrepreneurship gave me that, right? Because we all know it may not happen. It's not a matter of what happens. It's a matter of when it happens. It's a timing thing, right? If you put the work in, you stay consistent at it, it's only a matter of time before you reach your goals. And now you can predict whatever outcome you want out of life, right? So while I was working a 9-to-5 as an engineer, got into credit. I know you probably know him 500, seen his ads, got into credit because I didn't know growing up that credit was this big of a thing. Right. My loved ones, nobody really knew about credit. They told me to stay away from it. Or if you got a credit card, only spend it on gas and, groceries, right? But a lot of us don't know, if you have good credit, if you have access to credit, you're sitting on a gold mine. You literally can use credit and leverage it to get into business. You can literally make money off the bank's money, right? And once I kind of saw that was a thing, I was like, oh, the game's over. You know what I mean? Got into entrepreneurship, started in repair, was doing pretty good at repair. But that's the long game sometimes. And the reason how I fell into funding was I was doing the hard work of fixing people's credit, right? 6 to 12 months, whatever the case may be. And I would send them to a funding company as a referral, and they would pay me, let's say, $2,000 in commission. And I was like, I didn't even make that the whole 6 months working with that client on credit repair. So I was like, I'm on the wrong side of this industry. And that's when I got into funding. Got pretty good at that, hired a mentor, invested a lot of money. Right. And I would say about a year and a half later, I was able to leave my job and go full time into entrepreneurship. So yeah, man.
Full circle moment.
Yeah.
There we go. When you say the word, I invested a lot of money, I know that value, that dollar amount has to be a high ticket item.
Yeah.
How much was that? A lot of money.
$25,000.
There we go, people. There we go, people.
$25,000 when I had $5,000 to my name. Big hit to make it make sense.
How did you make that happen, bro?
Through credit, right? So this is what I realized, right? A lot of people don't reach their goals because of focus. And when I first got into paying for coaching, I was very limited in my beliefs, and it was like I always wanted the cheapest option.
Right.
But the cheapest option usually is not the best option. You're not going to get the most results for that, right? And a lot of people don't understand that when you pay attention. Ooh. Me paying somebody $50, it's like one day I'm gonna do it, next day I'm off. But paying somebody $25,000, you're gonna make sure you made that investment back, right? But coming back down to that, man, I had access to some credit cards, and I just hated my current situation enough to where I was able to make a change. Initially, when that person told me the investment was $25,000, I said, man, this dude crazy as hell. Ghosted him for like 3 weeks.
Yeah.
But when I went back to my job as an engineer, I noticed nothing changed.
There we go.
Nothing literally changed. I'm like, I'm sitting here contemplating something that can probably change my life forever. I say I want to do better, but when I'm presented with an opportunity, I'm not even willing to take it. And I realized, like, in order to change my outcome, I got to change my income. What I've been doing, paying for these $500 courses, is not getting me to where I want to. I'm splitting my focus. I need something that's going to give me direct access and a direct blueprint, actionable steps to get to where I want to go. So that's when I made the investment, maxed out every credit card I had, didn't tell my family, didn't tell my friends, because they wouldn't understand. I'm like a first generation entrepreneur, so they wouldn't understand. And I knew if anything, they're just going to talk me out of it or psych me out of it, right? So I prayed about it. I said, you know what? I'm gonna do it, and if it don't work out, I'm gonna just have to work hella overtime. So I made the investment, and looking back, it was the best investment I ever made, and it's exactly where I am today. And I know a lot of people look at risk, right? Everything's risky, and life teaches us to do everything safe. But everybody looks at risk, but one thing they don't look at is the other side of risk, which is rejection, right? What does it cost you not taking that risk? Now you literally live with regret. I'm sorry. The other side of risk is regret. There we go. Does that make sense, right? Yeah. And when you don't take risks, when opportunities are presented to you, you now have regret. And you're going for years and years and years wishing you would have took the opportunity, because the people that do take those opportunities, they end up at the top of the industry. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You think that most people lack focus.
Yeah.
Do you think that fear also plays like a really huge part in that? Because you said something incredibly powerful, man. You paid $25,000 into mentorship when you had $5,000, and you paid it with credit cards. So let me just find this out. Were you using business credit cards so you could hide all of this utilization, or were you going and maxing out your personal, knowing that's going to take a bigger hit on you as well? So like, you doubled down on the risk if you went that avenue. Can I start there first?
Yeah, so it was actually a split between both. Okay. I think at that time I may have like $15,000 in business credit, so I didn't have a whole bunch.
Right.
And it was 0% interest. I highly recommend you invest and use 0% interest cards, and we'll break that down a little bit later.
Yeah.
And then a little bit on the personal side just to stay afloat. But like I said, I just believed in me, and I knew, like I mentioned before, like the only way change happens is if I change. Absolutely. You got to do something different, and you got to be, become, I would say, comfortable being uncomfortable. Those uncomfortable feelings where it's shaky and you like, should I do this, should I not? Where you're overthinking. That's just unsure. You're just unsure. You're uncertain about what's going to happen. But on the other side of that, once you make that investment, once you take that hump, you see growth, because you see it's not as bad as we thought it was. That's usually how it always is, no matter what it is, right?
Yeah.
like one of my mentors actually told me this thing. He said fear is a mile wide and an inch deep. So it's just like an ocean, right? When you walk into an ocean, when you look at an ocean, it's a mile wide. You're like, dang, that's the ocean, I'm gonna drown. But then when you step in, it's an inch deep. You're like, oh, it's not that bad. I could take another step, another step, another step, and another step. And you realize that it was just your mental that was stopping you from actually achieving your goals. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. I think that that's a huge point and a huge part of also you not telling other people around you. You know what I mean? Because that right there, like you did say, it could hinder you, because those people don't, and not to bash anybody else because we all have them in our family, right? But you don't know what you don't know. So if they live by fear their whole life because they were taught fear their whole life, and you try to tell them, I'm gonna go take this big risk and this big swing, I believe in this guy, they're gonna first be like, do you know him? Do you know what I mean? Like, you just give him 25,000, but I asked you for 500 last month and you told me no, right? Like, there's going to be so many different ways and different excuses that they try to talk you off the ledge of you going to be great because they've never been great. So there's so much power in you keeping that to yourself. And now I know you're the beacon, right? I know you are the light tower for your entire family. And I'm pretty sure whatever you say, word is bond now, right? Whatever Stead brings to the table, everyone's like, jump on it, right?
100%.
That's awesome, bro. Can I ask you, where did that mentality come from? Because you said that there was a shift when you went back to work, right, for 3 weeks after you spoke to that mentor. What happened in there where you're like, I got to do this change? Where, like, mentally, where did you go?
Man, just really, like I tell people, when you dislike your situation enough, you're going to be eager for change. And like I said, working a job, it wasn't horrible, but it just didn't feed me. I feel like my potential was limited. It didn't give me the opportunity, the freedom that I wanted. It didn't give me the life that I wanted to create for myself and my family. And I felt like, yo, like, I'm young, like, why not now? And what really pushed me to the edge was like my senior engineer, right? My senior engineer. I'm gonna say this: if you ever want to see your future and you're at a job, look at the people that's above you. Look at your supervisor. Look at their life. What are they driving? What are they doing? Look at your senior engineers or your senior respectives, right? How is their life work balance, right? Because a lot of us, we're ignorant. We think that because we are who we say we are, that's not going to be our life, but we're looking directly at it. So going back to that situation, seeing my senior engineer stressed out, working overtime and not even getting paid time and a half because they gave him all the big projects in our office, and him telling me, yo, I'm making 6 figures but don't even feel like it, because after taxes, having the family, it don't even feel like it. Even looking at our badges, our IDs. So when you come into that company, you take a picture when you're young, when you first get into the company. He's been there for 20 years, and just seeing how much weight he's gained, how much stress is in his face now compared to when he came in, I was like, man, this is not where I want to be. And he told me straight up, like, yo, I feel stuck. He said he's put 20 years into this company. He has a pension. He's stuck. He cannot go to another company and start over and lose that pension when he has all his life dependent on this. So me seeing that and knowing that's not what I wanted for my life, I was like, yeah, I'm going to make a change before I get to that. You know what I mean? And that's exactly what I did.
Let's get to the fun stuff, man. I heard you said it earlier. You started off in the credit repair space. Then you saw the check that the other funding company gave to you. And it was 2,000, like, that's a good amount. Yeah. But you and I both know, right? What did that funding company actually make? So what do you recommend having and starting off in the credit repair space? Or do you recommend just going all in on funding, learning that game and running that route?
So being honest, it depends how much time and commitment you're going to put into your craft, right? Because starting off in the credit repair space is actually good because you get a great understanding of credit, understanding comparables, negatives, what a profile should look like, removing inquiries, different things like that. And all of that plays into, the funding space, right? So starting off in credit repair is not a bad thing, just because also it's easier to get clients than when it comes to funding, right? If you don't understand marketing to certain aspects. So I would say starting off in credit repair and that being your beginner business is a good business to be into, right? I just wouldn't recommend trying to scale and do that at a high level, just because there's a bunch of regulations and different things that come with it. And typically your clientele, your target audience, they're sometimes financially irresponsible, different things that can come with headaches. We just being real, right?
Yeah.
So it's one of those things where it's a good starter business, but you should always be working your way up to eventually get into funding, or at least have funding as an upsell so that you can start really, like I said, getting people through the pipeline, and it gives you the opportunity to actually build your funding clients. Absolutely. And that's why I like credit repair, because you can take somebody from a 500 to a 720, and now you're able to fund them, and now you walk them through the whole process.
And actually being in this space, I met a lot of credit repair guys or girls that are actually really, really good, have incredible customer service, right? They're just afraid of doing like the funding world. And it's funny because when I asked them, like, what are you so afraid of? It's because of like the dollar amount of the money that's being shuffled around, and then asking the customer to pay them once they've delivered what they've delivered, right? The product. Mm-hmm. And I was like, man, that's so funny for me to hear because you did all the hard work to get them here. Like without you, they would have nothing. How
Yeah.
does that put fear in you to ask what you're worth? Like they just get to walk around on earth being blessed. Now they got good credit and they got a lot of money. Like that's weird, but no, you're absolutely right. I'm a huge advocate. I love my credit repair company because like you said, I like being able to generate leads consistently. Everyone has bad credit. Let's be real.
Yeah.
So I'm just being real. So when they do actually get to the good credit and I'm like, now let's go have some fun, right? Let's go get you the funding part. It's just easy. But do I like the money from my funding company? A whole lot more.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So absolutely. I want to ask you, bro, in case the audience doesn't know, do you do alternative lending or are you traditional? Like, if you don't mind, could you break it down for the audience and then how do you do it?
For you guys that don't know, first funding is helping entrepreneurs or startups get access to capital to start or grow a business, right? You have two aspects. You have traditional lending, which is usually catered towards those that have, let's say, good credit scores and revenue is not needed. So they can have a 750, no revenue, and they can still get access to funding, usually with no documentation, no financials required, right? That's going through actual traditional banks, right, and credit unions. That's going to be, like I said, credit based. Then you have alternative lending. That's going to be for more established business owners that may have lower credit scores. It can be as low as a 500, but they have a cash flowing business, meaning they're making money in their business, right? So I started off in traditional lending, credit card stacking, 0% interest funding. You know, we all call it that.
Yep.
But once I added alternative lending to my business, that's when we started hitting seven figures. Because like you mentioned before, it's way more people that have bad credit that are making money than people that have good credit. And the fulfillment rate on the alternative is way quicker. So we do both. Right now, my company, I would say about 60% is alternative, 40% is about traditional. But I highly, highly recommend anybody that's in the funding space, if you do not have alternative lending, add it to your funding company. You need to, because now you're able to cash collect and help more business owners.
I want to ask this question now. Let's say that there's someone who's in the space and they started doing funding and they've hit a cap, man. You know what I mean? Like, let's say they're hitting 10,000 consistently, and that's good money. Absolutely. I'm not knocking that. What are they missing, or what do they need to do differently to get them to 25,000 consistently, to 50 consistently, to 100,000 consistently? Because that's the big game, right? So what are they missing in there, if you could talk to that person?
So I usually teach this thing called the 3 M's, right? It'll be more, metrics, and money, right? When it comes down to more, most entrepreneurs are just not doing enough. They get complacent, right? They're not doing enough to be able to get the desired result that they want to, meaning that somebody may talk to 10 people and get 10 no's and get discouraged. When it's like, in reality, to get the the ideal result you're looking for, you probably need to do 3, 4, or 5 times that much to get the desired outcome, right? So doing more is always good. And the thing about doing more, if you find something that's already working, you can just do more of that. Like one of my students, Alex, he was great at DM outreach. So instead of me saying, yo, we're going to run ads and do all these other crazy things, we just say, okay, let's do more DM outreach so we can contact more people, which is going to lead you to getting more business in. So doing more is always going to be the best thing to go over a hurdle when it comes down to it. Another thing with the second M, metrics, that's going to be very, very important. Most entrepreneurs in the startup, or I would say 25 and under range, they don't really have good data tracking. They don't understand where the leads are coming from, how many close, how many reschedules, cost per lead, you know what I'm saying? LTV versus CAC. They don't understand these numbers, these metrics. So it makes it hard to really predict where the business is going and where the leaks are at. So if you're not tracking, you need to track numbers, because once you have data, you're able to look and see, okay, this is where we're lacking. We need to do more of this. This is where we're good at. Okay, we're good at this. We need to do more of this. Give you an example. If you're not generating enough leads, then that means you have a marketing issue. That means you need to spend more on ads. That means you need to talk more to people. Whatever your main marketing strategy is, you need to do more of that, right? If you're not getting enough qualified leads, then it's in your messaging, right? What is your messaging? What platforms are you going on? How are you, portraying this message out? If we go to sales, if let's say you're not getting enough people to show up to calls, then you have a nurturing issue, meaning that you're getting booked calls, but are you sending them reminders the day of? Do you have a VA or somebody on your team that can call them to make sure, hype them up, that they show up to the call? Are you make sure you're giving them the Zoom link at a prompt time? Are you confirming that they're going to be able to make it, right? Or if you're not able to close deals, then it may be a sales issue. but you don't understand these things until you have metrics to track them to see, okay, this is exactly where we're struggling at. This is where we need to allocate resources at. And that's the job of a CEO. The job of the CEO is not to do everything in the business. It's to basically point the business in the right direction, be the person that can make a quick decision. Okay, we're going to put money into this and allocate resources so that the business continue to grow.
Man, that right there is a quick blueprint of how to scale, how to build your business. If you had no idea how to do this, just play that back and instead hit it on every single keynote, bro. Truly, I'm appreciative for my audience because I know there's one person out there that's going to rewind this, write those notes down, and now they can go to the moon, bro. And this is free.
Yeah.
That was awesome.
Yeah. And it solves so much. Like I said, if you're a person that's dealing with inconsistent income, inconsistent revenue, I would say, right? 1 month you having a 20K month, the next month you having a 5K month, the next month you having a 7K month. All that volatility comes back to you just not doing enough consistently to get desired results, right? And it just goes back. You just literally reverse engineer it, and you can find where the bottleneck is at in your business. Because at every level in business, there's a constraint. Literally every level. If there was no constraints, businesses will continue to grow infinitely. But everybody hits a wall. But we have to, as a CEO, as the entrepreneur, put resources to figure out that constraint to continue to get the business going. But let me tell you this is what natural business owners do. Instead of figuring out what's wrong and focusing on how can I get a solution to that problem, right? They do more of what they're good at instead of focusing on what, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, what they're not good at.
Right.
And that's where the struggle happens, because it's like, if you have a marketing issue, you just being more into systems and having the right automations does not solve the problem. Mm-hmm. Like, you need to get your ass in marketing, or you need to hire somebody that's good at marketing to be able to market if that's the issue. Because if you don't understand marketing, if you don't know how to market, you don't have a business. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
So,
and I'm glad that we're here on the marketing aspect now, because you got it locked down. I mean, at least I'm pretty sure you and my algorithm are the same, because we're into the same thing.
Yeah.
You're all over my algorithm all the time. And I love it. I actually get inspired by it, because I'm like, oh, I need to do more. Stead is out here working. I need to do more. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I wanted to ask you, though. I mean, having a Rolls Royce is nice. Having the nice cars are nice. Obviously, they're goals as a little kid growing up. Like, these are the things you aspire to. But on the other side, are the nice things a marketing tool for you? Or was it just a goal and something that you wanted to check off? Like,
yeah,
what was the purpose of those purchases?
It was both, man. It was actually 3 things. I'm going to be straight up with you, right?
Yeah.
So
let the people know what you have, bro. Let them, in case they don't know, let them know what you have.
Got you. So I got a Corvette C8. I have a McLaren 570S, and I got a Rolls Royce Ghost. I'm only 29 years old, so I ain't even, been doing it for a long time. But it kind of, the cars are like trophies, man. The cars are trophies. Like, usually every time I reach an accomplishment, I get a trophy, and that trophy helps out with marketing, obviously. Something I always want to accomplish, right? Scratching it off my checklist. But last but not least, taxes, man. Like, I got the Rolls Royce because I knew, look, if I don't put in something, Uncle Sam gonna take it. You know what I mean? And Uncle Sam done got me a couple times, so I got to get back one. I got to keep something. You know what I mean?
Absolutely, huge dump. I'm glad that we're already bringing them behind the curtain for every aspect, man. Taxes is an important game to play also, especially when you start doing this and doing it at scale and doing it at a high level. You have to take into consideration, where are you using and allocating your money? You said Uncle Sam got you, bro. What was that moment like? And if you don't mind, like, what was that big one where he came and you was like, ooh, this one hurt? Yeah.
So a couple years ago, I think it was my first year, like, really, really making money. I think I paid like $88,000 in taxes.
Oh, that's tough.
Because, like, the industry that we in, the profit margins are crazy.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Especially, like, if you're in the digital space and you're just doing it completely online, you don't have a brick and mortar and all that stuff. It's like the profit margins are crazy, right? So it's like, I wasn't even thinking about taxes.
Right.
Nobody ever really talked to me about taxes. It's always like, make the money, and it looks good in your bank account. But then you start to look at that at the end of the year, beginning of the year, you like, dang, this is how much I got to pay Uncle Sam. And it's too late to try to go back and try to invest into real estate and different, tax strategies and different things like that. So after I paid that, man, I said, I'll never get got again, man. Mm-hmm. I'll never get got again. So I started spending my money. But what that taught me in that moment, having to pay Uncle Sam $88,000, was like, I started thinking about how much more I could have spent in marketing.
There we go.
Another mentor I could have paid.
Come on.
You know what I'm saying? Maybe getting into, real estate investing, building my wealth, assets, different things like that. And it was like, damn, I just gave this to Uncle Sam and got nothing in return.
Absolutely.
And that's money that I could have invested to continue to build my wealth or build me up as an entrepreneur. So now I look at it like, hey, you either going to spend it or Uncle Sam going to spend it for you. So a lot of y'all business owners being cheap, understand, you either going to spend it or Uncle Sam going to come take it for you. You know what I'm saying?
Come on, we're going to clip that. That's going to go viral. and he's absolutely right. The only reason that I'm so well versed in the tax game is I got really lucky. My business partner is my CPA.
Wow.
So he was like, bro, we making money. Like, he's used to making tax preparer money. And I'm not knocking no tax preparer, but they have a very little window, you know what I mean, every single year. And some people fall off and then TurboTax comes. So their money's not even like, you can't count on it, right?
Yeah.
So when he started rocking with me and he was like, bro, we're really making money, like hand over fist. We got to put this here, here, and here. I was like, whoa, I don't even know this game. But it was cool because like you said, like I got to spend my own money in other places and avenues that made me more money, or like family trips and stuff like that, because he broke it down for me. You know what I mean? So taxes is huge, especially when you're trying to get to the level that you're at. Like you said, you want to keep it all in house.
Yeah.
I'll give the people another little cheat code. Start a podcast, go on vacations, link up with somebody in that city, bro. You're doing business and everything becomes a write-off, but the network gets even stronger. But at the end of the year, you know what I mean? You get to write every single thing off, all the meals, all the trips. Start your podcast.
Yeah.
So yeah, this one right here is a blueprint for everybody.
Yeah. And then it's a mindset switch too, man. Cause like, I don't come from money. So like money is still fairly new to me. And even now, like, even though I make money now, in the back of my mind, and just be honest with everybody here, is like, sometimes I still look at it like, how long is this going to last? You know what I'm saying? When you come from a place where you're not used to having money and people around you not used to having money, it's like saving. So a lot of times when I should have invested in different things like that, I hesitated because I was just like, well, I just need to keep this. I need to keep this. You know what I'm saying? Because I don't know how long it's going to last. I never had this much money before. But then, like I said, you start paying taxes and it's like, look, it got to get up out of here. You know what I'm saying? Or have your money work for you. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people don't talk about high yield savings accounts. Just having that alone, sometimes that's able to cover just my McLaren car note. Just putting money into there instead of actually just having a checking account and not getting any money off of it. You know what I mean?
Bro, you said that so smooth and so easy. Like, yeah, my high yield savings account will cover my McLaren car note.
Yeah. But this is like real stuff that business owners don't look at because we're so used to making money. And that's the purpose of being a business owner, right? But how are we starting to actually build wealth? And one way you start to build wealth, I would tell anybody, is to really like start by trying to eliminate your personal expenses. You know what I mean? Like, how much more money could everyone have if they didn't have a mortgage or rent? That's usually your biggest note or, expense of the month.
Right.
If you can take that, whatever, let's say you pay $5,000 for rent or mortgage, right? That's $5,000 extra that you can put into business or whatever else if you find a way to be able to eliminate that roof. And it can be having a SaaS software that covers it. It can be high yield savings account if you have the money. It can be other assets that basically pay for that so that you're able to live the life you want to live, but also have money to put back into the business and continue to grow.
I want to ask you, man, like I said, you're everywhere. I see you whenever I open up my algorithm, it's you. And the marketing part, the ads part, obviously are just to generate more leads, right? To get your face out there. And it's a huge strategy. And it's the move, right, of 2025 and 2026, especially when you watch people like Alex Hormozy, what he was able to do, you know what I mean, the past few months, building up to his book and now breaking a Guinness World Record. If you watch that, he gave you the blueprint, how to be successful, how to scale. So I'm sure that's the angle that you're going at. Which is highly successful, and respect to you. Keep pushing because it's working. Yeah. But you're also at every event, bro. You're everywhere. You're at every networking event. Can I ask you, what is the mindset to put yourself into these rooms? Is it for growth? Is it for networking opportunity, or maybe tax strategies as well? But why do you do all of these things, and then how come?
The first one I would say is exposure. If people don't see you, they can't pay you. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people don't understand that, like, I had to change my mindset on this, but a lot of people don't understand that it's not always about what you can do. It's about who knows what you do. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
A lot of us, we get stuck in, and I used to be here too, and I was actually envious of this at one point, right? knowing that I was better than certain people, but they were better marketers. People didn't know about me. I'm marketing to 100 people. They're marketing to 100,000 people. Naturally, just with numbers, they're going to make more. So when I realized that exposure is the thing that leads you to where you want to go, I started connecting. I started running more ads. I started building my brand more because I understood that, you know what I'm saying? That brings volume. That brings dollars. That drives traffic. So seeing that and changing my mind frame has really helped. And I tell everybody, like, you can make your first million literally focusing on marketing and sales. If you understand how to market your ass off, and if you understand how to sell, that's all you need to make your first million. Once you hit over $1 million, that's where culture, sales teams, development, things like that come into play. But to get your first million, if you have a product that you know how to market like crazy and you can sell your product, you can get to your first million.
Is that how you were able to generate $1 million in 10 months? Was doubling down on both of those things?
Yeah. In the coaching space specifically, everybody calling me now the webinar king, but I do webinars about 3 times a week. The beginning of this year, I started doing webinars once a week, every Sunday. By Q2, I was doing it 2 times a week. And then now I'm doing 3 times a week because I use the same principles I teach. Do more for desired outcome, right? If you're doing webinars once a week and you're getting 10 book calls and you're able to close 3 people and that generates $15,000, right? Why not do more of that to get more of the same outcome? Like, it's just simple math, but people don't do it because they don't want to put that effort in. So that's literally what I did, man. I just did more to be able to, like I said, build my brand up. And then what I love about webinars, if people don't know what webinars are, they're basically live workshops or live presentations where people spend an hour with you, right? They learn about you as a person, your product, your service, and then at the end, if it makes sense, they can work with you. What I love about webinars is it builds trust. It builds you up as an authority, and it really gets people to relate to you. Versus somebody see me on the first time on the internet, they may think, oh, he got cars. It may not be his cars. He looks like a scam. Now it's like, okay, well, come to my workshop. You're going to spend an hour with me and see who I really am. You can ask me questions. And then if it makes sense for us to work together, we can work together as well. So I tell people all the time, webinars is the best way to build a business. Anybody that does webinar for a whole year, your whole life will be changed. I promise you. I'm going to say this in the camera. If you do webinars for a whole year straight, by the time you look up, your bank account will change, your life will change, everything will change for you. So webinars is where it's at, man.
Webinar king.
Yeah, man.
That's fine. Yeah, you can definitely hold that name and that title. Absolutely. And what webinars also do is they give you an opportunity, like you said, like let's say someone comes to your webinar on a Sunday and they don't choose to buy. Then you hit them again on a Wednesday, and then you hit them again on a Friday. They've only spent 3 hours with you, you know what I mean? But they spent all 3 hours with you doing the same thing, saying the same thing, showing up and being consistent with them. Now they actually purchase on Friday.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They really, and I don't try to, for the audience, Stead didn't do anything different. The only thing that was different was you just kept showing up. You did all of the work. And now they want to purchase, and now they feel comfortable with you. Webinars are the way of the future. And Russell Brunson has been saying this and preaching this, you know what I mean? So you're absolutely right. And bro, I've sat in on your webinars just to see, but I also do it to continuously grow. I sit on as many people as I can in our space, you know what I mean? Because there's always new. You taught me a gym. I want to say the very first time I sat in your webinar, you made me look at secured cards completely differently. Yeah. And I think you did it for the entire space, because I pride myself on being pretty well versed in the space, and nobody looked at a secured card the way that you did. If you don't mind, I'll let you, bro, have the platform and say how you transformed our way of looking at a secured card.
So with secured cards, for a lot of people that don't know, secured cards is basically credit accounts that you basically put your money up for, right? So your money is usually collateral. And that basically helps you, one, build a relationship with a bank or a credit union, but also helps your credit profile to build a comparable, right? So now that I kind of explain what secured cards are, how they're able to be leveraged to help you get more funding or higher approvals is this. When you get credit builder accounts like Kickoff and stuff, lenders, underwriters aren't really looking at that. But with secured cards, what happens is because your money is on that card and they can see a 10K limit, what that shows them is liquidity. You may not have established credit, but you have liquidity, and that comparable can help you to get higher limits on the personal or business side, right? So a lot of people are overlooking secured cards. They wouldn't push them, but I came out and I've done the research, done the experience, and actually ran this myself to see, okay, underwriters, banks are actually looking at this as an actual comparable, which can lead you getting a higher limit, because even though you may have unestablished credit, you have liquidity. And that's what underwriters look for. They either want to see money, cash flow, or the credit profile to show them that, hey, you are a reliable borrower.
I know when that came out, everybody transformed the way that they were pushing secured cards, because everyone was like, no, you don't want a secured card. You want unlimited, right? You want a real credit card. But having that opportunity and that advantage where maybe you do have 20,000 on your own, 30,000 on your own, throw it in there real quick. And now your profile looks beefed up because they're like, oh, this is their own money. Their business is making money. It makes more sense. And it just has to be said, the way that you delivered it, bro, you knocked it out of the park. And the whole game shifted when you did that, for real. Like, you deserve all the power and the props to that one. I want to ask you, going back to the funding company as well as the credit repair company, where is there like the moment when you think, okay, I have something here, I just need to up it to the next level? Like, is it a dollar amount? Is it the amount of clients that people are getting in closing? Or is it just like a feeling inside? Like, where is that where this business owner needs to actually push it and pump up more and double down on what they actually have and go all in? Like, what is that to you?
I would say it would be revenue and also the stress that the business owner has on themselves, right? Because we all go through this cycle of, we start making money and we're a one-man team and we're making money, but it feels like a glorified job. We're working 24/7. We barely know what day it is. You know, we work in 12, 15-hour days and the money's coming in, but you like, damn, like, this is entrepreneurship. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So once you reach that goal, I would say maybe 10 to 15K a month, you need to start looking at, okay, let's double down. Let's do more to get more if I want to make more. But also, doubling down doesn't always mean you always doing more. Doubling down can mean hiring employees that are able to do more for you. So that's what I do in the funding space, right? I replace myself with other sales reps that can cold call, that can close deals, so I don't have to do all that myself. And now I have 10 of me. You know what I'm saying? Imagine how much more output 10 of me can put versus just one of me, right? Mm-hmm. So I would say when you hit around 10 to 15K a month and you have a budget to maybe hire other people and maybe put money into ads, look into that. And when you feel choked, when you feel stressed, you need to hire out. And a lot of business owners struggle with trust, but you have to trust other people. That's the only way you grow. You know what I mean? You can't be a one-man army your whole life, because you're never going to get to the revenue and the goals you want to. The goal with entrepreneurship and making money is not just to make money. It's freedom. Mm-hmm. That's literally what it is. Like, all of us would love to figure out a way to make the money we want to make and not have to work the hours we work, right? And there is an option to do that. It just takes time and developing systems to get there.
When you are getting these employees, are you vetting them? Are you training them? So you kind of have to do all of these roles in the beginning to build the powerhouse team. Like, do you have to feel comfortable with having a marketer and bringing a marketer on, as well as a sales team? So you have to know these steps to be able to coach them up. Or are you buying them from somebody else and getting these referrals from another company?
Good question. So I tell every entrepreneur, you need to do every single thing in your business so that you know what it's like to be in that role. Why? It helps you become a better entrepreneur, to help, to coach, right? And then you know when people are BSing you. And how you can use this knowledge is when you're going to hire people, right? And you're interviewing for roles that you already done, you know that you're hiring the right person if they can tell you about something you didn't know about that role. Like, if they can tell you something about ads and you've been running your own ads and you didn't know that, they're probably the right person for you, right? If you interview somebody and they tell you everything you already know, they're probably not going to be the A player that's going to help the business move, right? So that'll be the first thing I would say when it comes down to it. Secondly, there's nothing wrong with outsourcing, using contractors or outsourcing agencies to get stuff done, but you're always going to pay what I call the stupid tax. They're always going to be more expensive, and you can't build a culture with that. Meaning that they'll be in your business one day and then the next day they're gone when stuff doesn't work out. But when you hire employees internally, you can set expectations, you can build a culture, and you can really raise people up and give them the opportunity to not only make more money, but change their families' lives. So I'm really big on bringing it in-house when it makes sense. But there's nothing wrong with outsourcing. If you're somebody that's already hitting the ground running and you don't have time to train as much, what you should do, this is a hack, I'll let them know.
Come on now.
When you hire agencies, be straight up with them. Hey, I'm looking to use you guys for X amount of months, or have them pay them to train you. or train your team. Does it make sense?
Yeah.
You can, let's say we're talking about videographers, right? You can hire your own individual videographer. Let's say they're not the best, right? And you can hire an agency at the same time. You can have your videographer and your agency work competitively to bring the best out of both of them. At the end of the day, your videographer gets better, and now you have somebody in-house, right?
Yeah.
That way you avoid paying the stupid tax, and now you have an employee that you can build up internally and build culture around.
That was a gem.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And one more I'm going to give y'all. So a lot of people, when it comes to hiring, if you're on a budget and you want to hire, don't always just go to just hiring anybody or virtual assistants. One things we've been able to do specifically here locally is actually just go to colleges, college job boards, like go to recruiters. There's a bunch of college students that are specializing in marketing, videography, arts, different things like that are looking for jobs, right? And that's a way to get somebody that's on the come up, that's looking to build their resume, that's going to be, give you the most, right? And you can get the most bang for your buck. So a lot of people don't understand, like, if you go to your local colleges, it can be a major college, university, local community college, doesn't matter. That's an easy way if you're a small business owner to be able to get, like I said, people at an affordable, rate that will give you a lot, and they want to actually build with you because they're hungry, they're looking to build their resume in college.
So let's say that there's people out there that they do have their company, they have their credit repair company, they have their funding company, they're ready to take it to the next level, but they have like one or two banks that they can actually push clients through, which is great. Obviously, you're going to deliver results, right? That banker is really happy because they know that any candidate that you bring is going to be fundable, and that works in their benefit, right?
Mm-hmm.
But to get to the bag, you need more. Where is that missing link, or how do you get plugged in with that opportunity? If it's on the traditional side or if it's on the alternative lending side, like how are they able to get access to the people they can feed more candidates through? Because we know, you and I both know, there's some banks that are regional. So everyone can't fit, like one size shoe doesn't fit all.
Yeah.
How do they get access to more? How would you help them there?
Good question. First thing before we get to more, I'm going to break this down too, because this is a big misconception in the funding space. Most people focus on the wrong stuff and they set themselves behind, right? Before you go out to find more, you need to get more leads as well. So I teach this to my students as well. It serves no purpose to have 100 bankers if you only get in 1 or 2 clients a month. What's the point? Right? We're wasting time, right?
Yeah.
So you want to first master on getting more leads through the pipeline, because we both know most people got 3 banks they go to and they still making a good amount of each client off of just 2-3 banks, right? So if you can come up with that routine, then you're good. But if you want to get more bankers, you need to first figure out how to get more clients through your funding company, right? So getting more clients to your funding company is the first thing. To get more bankers, once you have the traffic coming in, we use 2 different resources. LinkedIn, always one, the best one. I can recommend everybody get a LinkedIn, professional LinkedIn. You can reach out to bankers there. Also, you ever heard of Hunter.io?
No, I haven't.
Yeah. So Hunter.io is another database that we use that has a bunch of different professionals in the banking and finance industries emails, and you can outreach there and find bankers there as well. So we use those to be able to connect with bankers, set up times to talk to them, see what programs they have to offer, how they like to work, to see if they're a good fit when it comes down to working with us. And the same thing when it comes to the alternative lending side. That's more of a good boys club. It's more like private. It's more of if you know. But a lot of times we get a lot of lenders signed up literally off of LinkedIn and stuff like that as well. So, yeah.
This government shutdown, it affected the whole world. It affected the economy. Thank God we're back, right?
Mm-hmm.
Did it affect you and your business? Did it affect you and your growth?
A little bit, yeah, on the SBA side.
Okay.
Just because like SBAs wasn't really pushing as much as, as they used to be when it comes down to it. But with business, it's ebbs and flows. You know what I'm saying? It's not always about what happens. It's like how you, how you go through it. You know what I mean? It's not what you go through, it's how you go through it. And that's one thing how I look at in business. Like, there's always going to be spikes of negative things that happen. But it's always, like I said, as the entrepreneur, finding ways to overcome those things. So I try not to let those things affect me. But the SBA, government being shut down, it did affect us. And
I'll just throw it out there as well. It affected me on the credit repair side because obviously everybody's closed. I couldn't do nothing.
CFPB and everything.
Yeah, CFPB, the FTC, everybody's closed. Yeah. But I will give this away, and I haven't seen it yet. With the AT&T data breach, go ahead and use that. Use that to your advantage now that the government is back working. There was an AT&T data breach the other day. People, y'all watching this, use it. That's another loophole, absolutely. I want to ask you, bro, was there like an aha moment for you? Or like, was it like, whoa, I've really done this, what I've been trying to set out to do? Was it like a dollar amount, or was it like a purchase, like a trophy, like you said? Or was it your first 6-figure mentee? Or maybe it was just a mentee actually wanting to be your mentee. Like you're like, whoa, I'm actually a mentor now. Because that's a different shift of a mindset. You knew what you were doing, but now there's somebody else who's kind of banking on you, right? Yeah, let's touch on that first. That's a mindset shift. What was that like?
So the first aha, I would say, when it came to just business, starting my funding company, was when I actually developed the courage to leave my job.
Oh, yeah.
That was my first aha, because like I said, I was probably making like double a month. I was making double my salary as an engineer, doing like credit repair and some funding part-time, right? And I was like, it just don't feel real. It just don't feel real. I think I'm gonna just stick. And then, like I said, I had my loved ones telling me, like, you worked your hardest to be an engineer, stick at it. And I kept pushing it back. My mentor was like, yo, bro, you been saying you're gonna leave that job. Like, why you keep pushing it back? I'd be like, all right, I'm gonna wait till I get this bonus. I'm gonna wait till I get this bonus. But when I finally developed the courage to leave, that next month I had my first 50K month.
Wow.
And I think it was like, yo, this is it. Like, I'm able to put all my focus into this. I'm never going back to a 9-to-5 again. And that was like my first aha in business, where it's like, yo, this is real. Because a lot of times people say they want to make 50K and they say they know they can do these things, but in the back of their head, they really don't believe it. It's one of those things you just tell yourself, but do you really believe these things? And sometimes it's not really just having self-belief, it's having case studies. And that's what I look by. Like, I can believe in myself as much as possible, right? And it's delusional until you do it. I understand that. But if I'm seeing other people do it from worse backgrounds, there's no way I can't do it. You know what I'm saying? That builds confidence in me. So that was my first aha moment. But I would say my biggest aha moment was when people started asking me to coach them. Because in our space, it's usually reverse, meaning that people don't actually do the stuff, but then they try to teach it.
Yep.
And that's where imposter syndrome comes at. They purchase somebody else's course. Oh, I know how to do this. Now I'm going to package it and sell it and say that I've done these things. Yeah. And it just creates that imposter syndrome, and it gives the coaching space a bad name. But when you actually do the stuff, have the results, people can fact check, do their research, and then you say, hey, I've done this. I think I can help other people have a similar result. It's a different shift, and people start to really believe, and you have real impact on people. And that's when I've been able to have. So once people started asking me to coach them, and then me seeing their results, taking people that knew nothing about credit, nothing about funding, nothing about even sales, right? And then taking them to this person they are today, it's like, wow, like I'm actually empowering and impacting people. Right. And that's why I tell people to live by. Like, we live in an age where digital marketing is amazing, right? We all showing the highlights of our life, right? But when you're looking to invest into a coach, don't look at what they got. Look at the people they impacted. And I feel like so many people don't do that. They look at other people because they got a nice chain or a nice watch or a nice car, and they think because they pay that person, they're going to have those things. And it's like, no, you may be the product, right? What you need to look at is the people they impacted, how they impacted them. Right. And that's how you understand. That's how you find the good coaches and the people that are actually going to deliver results and help you get to your outcome.
So we've already touched on the possibilities, right? We've talked on the infrastructure. We talked on how to get your team. We talked on how to get the people that you need on the back end. But you keep saying you need to have your systems in place. Yeah. What does this actually mean for someone who they're on the fence? Maybe they're where you are, right? Mm-hmm. They're an engineer too, but they're like, I want more. Right now, I want them to be able to leave this episode and this conversation where they're like, I wrote everything down. I feel confident enough to go do these things that Stead dropped. Mm-hmm. So what systems do they need to have in place to be successful?
What you want to have, and this is the main system because this is going to be the bottleneck of your business. You want to have your client acquisition system or client fulfillment system in place. And I'll break that down what that means, right? So client fulfillment, client acquisitions are going to be the biggest things, meaning like, how do you get people on sales calls? How does that book call go? What calendar do they book on? Do they get reminders? Are they reminded? Do they get sent a Zoom link? Is all that automated? So you don't have to manually do that, right? And then your client fulfillment, right? Or I would say experience system should be like, how does your client feel going through the process? Mm-hmm. During that time leading up to the call, are you sending them emails or results, right? Are you nurturing them the proper way? having these systems in place help you to, like I said, stop doing all of the heavy work and focus on closing the deals. So to give you guys some real actionable steps, you want to have a CRM. You want to have a CRM. If you don't know what a CRM is, it's a customer relationship manager. You can use Go High Level. Scale Ape is the one that I developed. It's specifically for credit and funding companies. HubSpot. You want to have a CRM that allows you to manage your clients all in one space, right? These CRMs usually come with your business phone number. You can create your business website and all the things you need in there. And the reason why that is important because you want an all-in-one platform to manage everything. Right. When using Google spreadsheets and all these different things, you're all over the place and you split focus. You got to go to one app to another app to 10 different tabs instead of having one CRM where everybody stays steady at, right? So that's the first thing I would say is having a CRM, right? The next thing that I like for our lender matrix, we use Notion. I don't know if you're familiar with Notion. Notion is really, really good. You can build lender matrices where you can put your bankers' names, contacts, emails, everything, and you can make it easy for your team to actually go and, replicate or copy and paste in emails, whatever that may need to be. A third one I would say, when you're training and hiring, I love Loom. Yes. Why is that? Because Loom allows you to record your processes. So when you're ready to hire, you can give that to your new hires. Yep. Because you just showing them once is probably not going to click for them, but giving them videos they can consistently go back and refer to instead of you taking time out of your day to correct them can help you grow. Absolutely. And then you got to have some type of AI nowadays, right? In your business. I'm big on Cody AI. We use that for my company, for my employees specifically. Cody AI, we feed it all of our SOPs. For you guys that don't know what SOPs are, those are standard operating procedures. So basically how things should be done in your business. So when your team needs help with something, instead of them coming with you, distracting you from being the CEO, they can go to Cody AI, ask those questions, and Cody AI will tell them exactly how they should do something based on what you feed it, right? Or having ChatGPT. Like ChatGPT is a non-negotiable, right? AI is taking over. So having ChatGPT and not just having it, but understanding how it works and telling it your whole life story. You should be telling ChatGPT everything about your business, consistently adding value, and that's how you're able to really build up employees that are great. And that's literally what I do, man.
How disciplined are you, Stead? Like, I see it, right? Mm-hmm. I can feel it in this conversation, like the passion, but also the confidence that you speak on because you've done it. All of these things that you're allowing the world to know, like you said the perfect word, case study. You are the perfect case study in the blueprint to do this. If you follow this, you can do this too, right? Yeah. You may not hit it in the time frame that you hit it because your work ethic and your drive is different. So how disciplined are you? What does a normal week look like so that this person can envision themselves in your shoes? What does it look like?
Discipline is a thing stopping you from you being where you're at right now and accomplishing your goals, right? The reason I say that is because motivation runs out. Mm-hmm. You'll get burnt out with motivation easily, right? Yeah. You'll be hyped for the first 30 days, but business is weird. You know what I'm saying? You got to have discipline and keep going because the crazy thing about business is this. You'll go 3 months of taking L's, and that fourth month you get a W, but that W is so big it wipes out all the L's, and the L's don't even matter. Right. And people don't even care about the L's because you got to win, and you're known for this, right? Mm-hmm. So I would say discipline is the most important thing, and that's honestly how I've been able to blow past a lot of people, man. It's just having a discipline and structure. So how my days are, man, I wake up usually around like 5:30 a.m. I believe in working out. I would say 5 to 6 times a week. That's literally what I do. And it's not so much of like working out to be an athlete, even though I have that in me. That's just my background. But it's more so training your mental. Mm-hmm. And people don't understand that. Like when you have the discipline to work out each and every day, you develop a strong mindset. You know how hard it is to wake up when it's sore and it's cold and you like, dang, I got to get out of bed and go to the gym. Yeah. But you're training that mind. You're developing that mind, that confidence. So that's the first thing that I do. When I get back home after showering, different things like that, I immediately get to work. A lot of people, they feel like they got to get motivated or they BS around. I immediately get to work. And that's usually like a sales meeting, right, with my sales team because we want to check in, get them hyped up for the day and get going when it comes down to it. Once I go through my meetings through the day, I dive into marketing. Marketing is going to be the most important thing in most businesses because if you don't know how to market, you don't really have a business when it comes down to it. So whether that's ad creation, trying to figure out other ways that inspire me to get more into marketing, posting, whatever that may be. I'm in, like I said, money making activities. And that's what you want to do during your day during the CEO. If it's not a money making activity, it shouldn't be a priority, right? And then later in the day, like I said, that's when I kind of love on my team, where we have one-on-ones, expectation, quarterly meetings, quotas, different things like that, and figuring out how can I continue to build this business and replace myself. So I would say like Monday, Tuesday is usually like the harsh days, maybe have a webinar on Tuesday. Wednesday is usually my content day. Wednesday is my light day where I'll work out, come straight here to the studio
Come on now.
and it's just content, you know what I'm saying? Knocking out as much content. If it's a YouTube video, if it's short form reels, if it's ads, I'm doing as much as possible in that day so that we can actually, like I said, output that into the market when it comes down to it. Right. Thursday is a grind day, and then Friday is usually like my employee day. What do I mean? I still get a lot of work done on Friday, but that's usually the biggest day that I love on my employees. We have a bulk of our team meetings and different things there to continue to build the culture inside the company, because that's so important. Once you get over that, really before even $1 million, but definitely over $1 million in revenue, you have to build culture, because you got to have that expectation. One thing I learned and inspired me was going to acquisition and seeing Hermosi's team. All A players. Yeah. Everybody's an A player. Right. And it's no wonder he has the success he has, because he has a standard, and the standard is a standard, and his team understands that. He don't have to hold them accountable, because they're holding each other accountable, and they're holding the people under them accountable. So that's something I'm building, and I just get inspiration from there as well.
Getting the opportunity to go to acquisition.com, man, what is that like? Do you have to get asked? Do you pay for it? I mean, was this another opportunity for you to find another mentor to be able to get to where you want to? Because, I mean, Hermosi he's the OG in this space. You know what I mean? So what was that like? And then how do you get that opportunity, man?
First opportunity, anybody can go. If you're willing to invest, it's $5,000 for a 2-day workshop, right? And I heavily believe in investing into the business to always grow. But one thing that I notice is, like, with me especially, when you see something, you can't unsee it. Like, once you're exposed to something, you can't, like, go back. Right. Before I got my McLaren, one of my mentors had an orange McLaren as well, and I knew, like, that's what I wanted. So I believe in going investing to get inspired. You know what I'm saying? To see that it's possible. It's like, dang, he's been able to do this. He's been able to build that. I know what I need to do. I know what it looks like now. Because when you see it on TV or the internet, it's different from that aura you get in person. Like, when you're around it and you see, and this person's in front of you, you see how their operation is, you have no choice but to want to get inspired and want to do that, right? Yeah. So just going there, man, it inspired me, but it also was a humbling moment as well, because you put yourself in a situation where you're now the smallest fish in the pond. Right? So it's like, when I'm around everybody else, I'm the big fish. But then when I get around Hermosi and other people that are doing 10 mil, 20 mil, 50 mil a year, it's like, wow, like, I'm just scratching the surface. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And they're like, oh yeah, you're just at 2 mil in revenue. Okay, yeah, cool. Right. I'm at 10 mil. Like, this is what we're going through. Right. So just seeing those things is like, wow, it's just so much more you can learn, and you get inspired from there as well. But it also builds confidence, because you see that at every part in business, people always go through situations and they're trying to find ways to come across, and they don't have the answers. You start to realize that most people are lost even when they made 10, 20 million, right? They don't have the answers to certain things, so they seek outside resources to get those answers. So just seeing him, seeing his team, seeing this whole operation was just inspiring, man. And I listen to a lot of stuff that he does, and it's definitely helped me throughout my business.
People need to get and understand that because you start to make money, all of your problems are not gone. You actually get different problems at different scales and moments when you're dealing with different amounts of money. $2 million problems are different than $50,000 problems. $10 million problems are way different than $50,000 problems. So I can't even imagine what a $20 million problem is. And how do I fix that? I have to go to someone making $100 million because they've dealt with the $20 million problems. And when you bring that little problem to them, it's little to them because they got $100 million problems. You know what I mean? Like, people need to really, truly understand. And I love this conversation, bro, not only because we're able to allow people on the other side of what is possible, right? If you do take the risk, or you want to get into funding or the credit repair space, but you're also sharing so much enlightenment of continuous growth and continuing to develop Stead. You
Facts.
could stop because you are a mentor now. You do have the McLaren. You do have a Rolls. You could, I'm sure you're printing money in your sleep because your team is working because that's the expectation.
Yeah.
But Stead knows where Stead wants to be. So you continue to develop and work on you. And I think it's so powerful. And if anybody takes anything away from this episode, I hope that they take this away of continuing the education. And you were already an educated brother. You're an engineer. Like, you just naturally have this. So it's so powerful, man. And I appreciate you sharing this.
Well, before you go, I want to
Yeah.
add one more thing too.
Yeah.
Just to be vulnerable with the people, because like I said, I don't never try to make myself seem perfect, man. Another thing that people don't talk about when you come across money is the personal trauma you get as well. So we talked about, making 20 million, having 20 million problems being different than $50,000 problems and having to go higher to get those resources. That's on the business side. But on the personal side, you deal with stuff too. The reason why is because people that never even made 50,000 and they see you making 2 million a year, they're like, what are you complaining about?
Yeah.
Like, people lose empathy for you. They think that, because you have money, you're no longer a human. I told one of my friends this a couple weeks ago. I said, bro, it's crazy how if I was in a beat up Honda and I broke down the side of the road, people would be like, ah, man, poor Stead, man, somebody let's help him out. Let's do this. Let's pull over. But if I'm in my Rolls Royce and the same thing happened, he got money, he in a Rolls Royce, we finna keep going, he good.
Yeah.
Me having things or a person having money doesn't take away the fact that they're human.
Absolutely.
That they still have feelings, they still have emotions, they still go through things, right? And I feel like sometimes when you have money and the people you're around don't have money, there's a disconnect, and they always think that, you know what I'm saying, you're just supposed to have life figured out because you've been able to figure out money in a way, right?
Yeah.
Or like growing up, one of my favorite artists, Sari, he said this one thing, it's like, what you know about being strong, the person that everybody depend on. But you know what I'm saying, when you need somebody, nobody there for you because they think you're always good. When you known for being disciplined, being strong, and always being there for people just assume that you're always good, and they don't ask, how are you feeling? How are you doing? How's life going for you? Yeah, you making money, but how's your mental when it comes down to it? So having money is a good thing out in trading in the world, right? Being to impact others, but it also comes with a lot of other stress that people don't think of or allocate because they're not in that situation. Now you have people asking you for money. Now it's like you can't even go to a regular body shop because you got an exotic car, and now it's an exotic car fee instead of a regular car fee. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, people just want more out of you because they know you have it.
Absolutely.
Versus like when you don't have money, it's not, or you know what I'm saying, they can't really, you know what I mean? So it's definitely pros that I really want to talk to the people about because it just comes with it. But I wouldn't trade it for anything else. So it's not to scare, but it's to notify people when you get to that stage, there are some personal things you go through as well.
I know what you're talking about. Obviously not on your scale yet, but I remember when I would go to my same barber for 3-4 years, right? And then I let my barber know, life is getting good. Things are changing. I roll up in a different whip. All of a sudden, my same $50 haircut now is $150. And it changed because he knew I had the $150. And I was just like, wait, but we've been rocking together for 6 years. You're the only person that touches my head for 6. Like, it's you and my wife. You know what I mean? Like, on the ultimate trust level. Like, I don't let no one else touch the end. It was a rude awakening, and it's something small, but those little things do matter. And I think you touched on it beautifully, bro. It's the human element of someone with money, and it just like they feel like you're not, like you're untouchable and everything is perfect and you should have no stress and you should have no worries because you can go to the nicest restaurants and you can have the nicest clothes and you can fly private if you want to. But that's an added element of things coming, like security issues, right? And who can you trust and who's really for you and who's not. Entitlement, right? People think they've been rocking with you, that they deserve your money too. Like, nah, you don't, because you didn't wake up at 4:30 I saw a quote. Do you think Kobe enjoyed waking up at 4:30 in the morning? No. Nobody enjoys that, but Kobe wanted to be Kobe. You know what I mean? So yeah, having money and figuring out business or something, anything that you're successful out at is going to bring up its own challenges, like we said. So thank you for sharing that, man, because not enough people do. And I think that's the the internet fad that we have, like
Yeah.
you said, is everyone wants to only show wins, but there's a lot of losses, and it's not even money losses, but those are big losses too, because you got to take big swings to get to the next level, and no one ever shares that, right?
At all.
At all. Like no one ever wants to see that, because as soon as you show a little bit of weakness, your potential customers on to the next, because the person you're in competition with, which we're not in comp because there's so much money out here, right?
Yeah.
And we all bring something different, but the customer experience is so quick, and they want to be like, oh, if they do it, I could do that too. You know what I mean? So if you show a L, it's really weird. The way that the mind works is really weird, but I digress. I'm thankful for you sharing that with the people, man. Yeah, thank you. I want to ask you, in this space that we're in, there's so much gray area and there's so much negative connotation. And I get it. It's because there's been people who have gotten burned. There's been people in the past, like you said, they took a course. Now they feel like they know everything. Now they just regurgitate or digest and let everyone else have the same playbook, but they can't actually teach it. They didn't actually learn it to teach someone else, but they just sell it at a cheaper price so more people buy it, right? So I understand, why is there this looming gray cloud on our space? But there's so much beauty in it as well, that I want people to truly get an understanding. Like, once you understand credit, your entire life changes, bro. Can you speak on that? Like, try to have a moment to debunk and filter out the noise of the bad in the space, and then just bring some enlightenment to the space, because it's a beautiful world over here.
Credit is life, man. Credit is opportunity. In a world where everybody's fighting for pennies, you're never gonna have more money than the banks. Just being transparent. Like, I don't care if you're a millionaire, banks got billions. You know what I mean? You'll never have more money than the bank. And we're so lucky to be in the United States, where we have an opportunity to where you can come from bad backgrounds, so you don't have to have a bunch of money. But if you understand the credit game, you can still get access to money to put and invest and make money off of. Like, my family is originally from the Bahamas. There is no credit system there. Like, if you don't have land, if your family don't have money, you just asked out. It's very hard to go from poverty in the Bahamas to middle class and upper class. But in the United States, we have that luxury, and we see people do all the time, coming from poverty to upper class, because they understand worth ethic and the credit system. So when you understand how credit actually works, how you can build it, how you can structure it, how you can play this game that all successful people, that the 1%, that millionaires are playing, you'll always have a resource to be able to make money, guys. And I don't think people understand that. Like, there's no other situation where you don't have the money, but you can get access to the money by having good credit. Right. And then to add on top of that, having 0% interest credit at that. Like, who's giving you 0% interest money for 8 to 12 months? Right. That's almost unheard of outside the national banks. So now you have the luxury of being able to get money, 20, 30, 40, 50, even $100,000 at 0% interest. Now you can put that into an asset. Now you can invest that into a business. You don't have to start a business. You can put that into an actual business that's already established and make money off of that. And you didn't come from anything. You know what I'm saying? Like I told you, my whole life changed because I invested into a coach, $25,000. I had $5,000 to my name. If it wasn't for credit, I wouldn't be standing where I am right now. Mm-hmm. So understanding how you can use credit and to be responsible with it is a game changer, because now you have a way, you have an opportunity, you have, a voice in this game and being able to control your future.
If you don't mind, bro, what was the most generated revenue month for you in this entire time that you've been in this space?
Yeah, so about 263,000.
Boy, come on now. Yo, there's 30 days in a month, y'all. You know what I mean? Like, let's go.
Yeah.
And that is all off of, again, your hard work, obviously, right? And doubling down on what you know is good at, what you're good at, right? And the possibilities. But it all started with you taking that leap of faith and that person paying them $25,000 when you only have $5,000.
Yeah.
And now you're generating 10x that.
Yeah. And that's what people don't understand. It's like the mindset sometimes is weird. And I'll say this, right? People that want to change their life are scared to invest because they're like, oh, that's 5,000. Oh, that's 3,000. Oh, that's 2,000. Or if you like me, big risk tolerance, that's 25,000. But if that 25,000 leads to you making $1 million, who really got scammed?
Mm-hmm.
The person ain't charge you enough, right? If you pay somebody $25,000, you made $1 million. Who really got scammed?
Yeah.
If you pay somebody $5,000 and you made $100K off of that throughout the year, who really got scammed? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's like people don't look at things like that. They want everything predetermined, and that's not how life works.
Mm.
Like if you knew your future, you would just go by very confident. But what we want to do is human beings or people that want to get into entrepreneurship or entrepreneurs, do what feels scary. Usually whatever you fear, or if you take fear out of the situation, what would you do? How would you live your life? And usually that's the decision you should be making. So that's what I look at, man. And just from a motivating aspect, what motivates me each and every day is I do things that people are not willing to do. And I know God put this pressure on me because he know I can handle it and most people can't. So that's another thing that's a driving force. It's like you have the motivation, you have the discipline, but also you got to have the courage to invest and step out. You can't say you want to be a part of the 1%, but still want to do what 99% of people do, right? Because the 1% is doing what 99% of people are not willing to do. And I don't think people realize that. They say they want these things, but are you putting in the effort? Do you understand what it actually takes to build something? Do you understand the effort, the volume, what it takes to actually be successful, to change your family's life? If it was easy, everybody would be living great.
Okay, now that we have the dollar amount, right? Can you touch on how many streams is this coming from? Is it school community? Is it credit repair? Is it funding? Is it your YouTube channel generating money? Is it Instagram? Like, make it tangible for people watching this, listening to this today. What does that really look like and take to get a $263,000 month?
Yeah. So with me, I'm really big on this because I've learned early on, you don't want to split your focus, right? You should be focusing on one or two things, and that's pretty much it, right? A lot of people say that a millionaire has 7 streams of income, and that's not the full truth. A millionaire has 7 streams of income because they focus on 1 or 2 streams, scaled that up, and they had to diverse their portfolio, and they got into other investments, usually for tax purposes. But people don't get that whole explanation. They just say a millionaire has 7 streams of income. So people that start off in business, they think they need to do Airbnb, Turo, taxes, real estate, funding, credit, when in reality, you're just splitting your focus. I was able to have that month because I literally focused on coaching and funding. That's all that led to it. Coaching and funding. You're either going to get funding by me and my team, or we're going to coach you so you can start and grow your business. So me having the focus on those 2 things, those 2 focal points, allows me to put all my attention, all my efforts into that. But imagine if I was doing, you know what I'm saying, all these extra things and talking about trucking and Turo and exotic rentals, I'd be scattered. I would never be able to make that amount of money. You know what I mean? And people don't look at it like that.
Man, I know for a fact somebody somewhere is able to start from zero. Watch this back now, bro. And I hope they do reach out to you, if it's on Instagram, if it's on YouTube, whatever. And they're like, I watched this video of you. Thank you so much. You gave me the blueprint. You inspired me. And now look, I had my first $10,000 month. Right? Everything doesn't have to be $200,000, but $10,000 months is life-changing months.
That's good money.
That's good money, especially when you're doing something that you figured out is what your superpower is now, right? And having that moment of helping the people around you and then helping strangers is such a powerful feeling. Like, the money is a byproduct, which is great. But at least for me, I know being in this space and helping people when they were like, I'm down on my luck. I've had bad credit for my whole life. And then I'm like, okay, let's take this walk and this journey together. You know what I mean? 90 days later, bro, they're on their way to go close on their very first house. And it's the first house in their family. That feeling right there is what I continuously chase for. Like, it's a weird drug. Do you know what I mean? And it's a very addicting, but that feeling is the greatest feeling in the world. So I know that someone from watching this episode today is going to be able to experience that. And I hope that they give you your flowers and reach out to you, because you've made it possible by breaking every single thing down, man. This is an awesome episode. I appreciate you.
I appreciate you having me.
No doubt. I'd always leave it like this, man. I want my guests to be able to talk to the audience and find out wherever they are, what state of mind they are for that moment today. But if every single piece of content of yours was scrubbed off the internet, completely gone, no one knew who Stead Waiters were or was, and then what you talk about or what you do, and you had 45 seconds just to talk to the entire world, what would you want to tell them for them to shoot for, aim for, to be successful?
I'm going to talk to the younger version of me, right? I would say aim for the stars. Don't overthink the process. I feel like outside forces, people that don't understand your drive, your passion, and what you want to achieve, they're gonna try to talk you out, knock you off your pivot. But stay the course, stay consistent, and aim for the stars. If God put if God put that goal in for you in your mind, it's going to happen. Stay consistent. Surround yourself around solid people that's going to support you, not pull you down, and just aim for the stars, right? Because at the end of the day, we only get one life. On our deathbed, we can't blame anybody else for how we live our life except ourselves. So when you have that mindset, live every life knowing that you are in control of your life, not anybody else.
Powerful. Thank you for that message,
No
man.
problem.
And I want to leave it off right here by just saying thank you so much to my powerful guest, Stedman Waiters. And if you need to get in contact, let them know, man.
Oh, yeah,
How
yeah.
could they get in contact with you,
So
bro?
got a couple things for
Come
you,
on.
right? First and foremost, you can follow me on Instagram at sted.waiters or subscribe to my YouTube, Stedman Waiters. If you're looking to secure funding, I would say Waiters Capital is where you can, like I said, get that. That's my done for you funding service. My whole team can help you there. And then last but not least, if you're somebody that wants to make a change, you want to get into the funding space, you want to become a business loan broker, just come to my free funding workshop. It's a workshop I do every Tuesday, Thursday, and Sunday. I'll give my guy a link. And just because you have me on your podcast, man, I'll throw in a free Secret Lenders Credit Union ebook. So anybody that's trying to secure funding for themselves, if you register for it, it's completely free. We're going to send you that ebook, and that's going to be game changer because there's a lot of credit unions that we use in my funding company to fund a lot of our clients. So yeah, man, and that's just for you. I'll get you a link so we good there.
I appreciate that. Y'all heard it here. I want to leave the audience today with just inspiration that Stead put inside and fulfilled me with today. And he said something that was so powerful. Like, if God gives you the dream, it's for you, not anyone else in your family, not anything or anyone else to be able to understand, because he didn't give it to them. So I want you to remember that if God gave the dream to you, that dream is yours. And I need you to go double down on that. If you have something that you want to pursue, you go ahead and you double down on that. When you feel like it's time for you to go take that risk and jump off the ledge, jump off that ledge and double down on that. And that was today's episode.